जो हाउस फ्लाई है उसके साइज की ये होती है, ठीक है। And if you look at the biting pattern, you can see this fly mainly bites during the daytime. All right. So it never bites in the night or the evening time. So it prefers to bite during the daytime and takes the meal. And you can see here that it is sitting on the skin of a human being, and it is taking its blood meal. So you can see this structure, which is the proboscis. All right. It has been inserted inside the skin into the blood vessel, and you can see here the abdomen has swollen. Okay, so see how much blood it has ingested. So this was the earlier stage before the meal, blood meal, and this is after the ingestion of the blood meal. So this is the same video. You can find this on this link. You can go and you can see the whole sucking process of the blood, and you can see here that a drop of blood is oozing out of the skin. So this is the uh, vector, which is tsetse fly. And unlike many insects which cause the diseases, like for example anopheles mosquitoes, in which the females are only the blood suckers. Okay, so these, the tsetse fly, in this case, both the males and females, they suck the blood. All right, and therefore they help in transmitting and carrying the disease. All right, so both males and females take part in the disease progression. And if you look at the vectors for the two subspecies, that is Gambians and the Rhodesiensis, you can see that in case of the Gambians, it is Glossina palpalis. All right. So the scientific name for tsetse fly is Glossina, and it is written here Glossina palpalis. And for the second one, it is the Glossina morsitans. All right. So there is difference based on their location. That means Gambians in the western and the central region, and also the type of disease caused. Gambians is a chronic form of the African trypanosomiasis, as well as the vector is different. So there are three major differences in the uh, Trypanosoma brucei, Gambians, and the other one. So if you look at the generalized life cycle of both Trypanosoma brucei and the Gambians, so here we have taken the the generic name only, Glossina. All right. So we are discussing both of them. So the tsetse fly or the tsetse fly, which is Glossina, that injects the metacyclic trypomastigotes basically into the skin tissue of the mammalian host. All right. So you can look here. These are the RBCs. Okay, and these are the parasites, which are the trypanosomes. We will see the ultrastructure in the coming slides, and you can see they are not present inside the RBCs. Okay, so they are basically the extracellular parasites. All right, so they are present outside the cells, and from the skin tissue, these metacyclic form, they transfer into the lymphatic system. All right, and then from the lymphatic system they arrive into the bloodstream. So the lymphatic system basically contains the metacyclic mastigotes. All right, and then when they are inside the bloodstream, these trypomastigotes are then carried to various body parts. For example, they can reach the brain, they can reach the other organs like lungs, liver, etc. But mostly they are dangerous when they reach the liver, or they reach the brain. And as you know, that brain is one of the most difficult organs to cure, because it has a blood brain barrier. All right. And most of the drugs are not able to cross that blood brain barrier, and therefore once these parasites reach the brain, or they enter or they invade the brain, it is almost impossible to cure that person. All right. So the drugs become less effective, or even they don't affect anymore when they reach the organ stage. So it is better to treat these organisms or these protozoans in the early stage. That is, in either they are in the lymphatic system, you can treat them, or if it is there in the bloodstream, you can treat them. But once it is inside the brain, then it is very difficult to treat the person. Also, they can reach the various other body fluids, like example lymph में जा सकते हैं, और and also in the spinal fluid. तो cerebral spinal fluid होता है, और जो spinal fluid है उसके अंदर ये easily अपना जाके lodge कर जाते हैं. And they reproduce by binary fission. Always remember that the mode of reproduction in case of Trypanosoma brucei is through the binary fission. The entire life cycle is contain only the extracellular stages. So they never invade these cells. Tissue में चले जाएंगे, but they will live in the extracellular spaces. Then how does that transmission from the infected humans to the other humans occurs? It is again through the tsetse fly, which takes the blood and that contains trypomastigote forms. Okay, and these mastigotes, they then transforms into the procyclic forms. Right. So we will discuss what are these epimastigotes, procyclic trypomastigotes, and everything we will discuss in the coming slide. So in case of the tsetse fly, what happens that when they are taken in with the blood meal, they go into the midgut of the fly. All right, and then they transform into the procyclic trypomastigotes. And again, the multiplication, as I told you, is always through the binary fission. Then they leave the midgut and transform into the epimastigotes. And these epimastigotes then reach to the salivary glands, and again they undergo binary fission. So at every stage, the reproduction is by the binary fission. All right, and it takes around 21 days, that is 3 weeks, to complete the life cycle inside the fly. Okay, and as I told you, inside the human beings, it can continue up to years or months. Right, and sometimes, that is very rarely, trypanosoma can also be acquired congenitally. That means through the mother, infected mother, to the newborn baby. So that means it can also cross the blood-brain barrier. All right. Oh, sorry, placenta barrier, not blood-brain barrier. So this is the generalized life cycle of the trypanosoma, and this has been taken from the CDC, that is the Center for the Disease Control, United States. And you can see here that it contains 2 phases, that is, one is the human part and the another is in the insect part, that is the vector. Vector, I've told you, it is the tsetse fly, and it is in case of the human beings, in case of the vertebrate host, the human beings can serve as the host. Even other mammals like horses, cattle, they can also serve as the host for the trypanosomes. Okay, so mostly in case of the African sleeping sickness, the human beings, they serve as the definitive host. All right, and you can see here that the transformation occurs when the tsetse fly, they take the blood and inject the metacyclic trypomastigotes inside the bloodstream. Okay, and then what happens? The second part occurs, that is the metacyclic trypomastigotes. They transformed into the bloodstream and they are then carried to the various sites. So for example, they are taken to the other lymphatic system or the spinal fluid, or even to the other organs. All right, and then they start circulating the trypomastigotes into the blood phase, into the blood, and that causes the acute phase of the life cycle, and then the cycle continues. And if the fly, which is the vector, which takes the blood from the infected person, it can ingest the trypomastigotes, and then these trypomastigotes then transformed into the epimastigotes, and then these epimastigotes then can be transformed into the metacyclic trypomastigotes. All right, and then they can be injected back into the humans. So if you look at the ultrastructure, this is basically the trypanosoma brucei, and you can see that first thing is the presence of a centrally located nuclei or the nucleus. So single nucleus is there, so we will not call it nuclei, rather it is a nucleus. All right, and an important character which is never seen or it is not seen in other organisms or protozoans is the presence of an elongated mitochondrion. So this looks like an alimentary canal, but it is actually a mitochondria. All right. So it is a mitochondrion that connects to the kinetoplast. Okay. So this is the kinetoplast which is there, and you can see here that there is a flagellar pocket present through which the flagellum comes out. All right, and from where the flagellum arises, that part is called as the blepharoplast or the basal body. तो ये हम पढ़ चुके हैं already. The part from which it is the flagellum arises is called as the blepharoplast. यहाँ पे label नहीं है, but you can label and this is the blepharoplast or the basal body. ऐसे यहाँ पे है label. So this from the blepharoplast, the flagellum comes out, and this is the flagellum which is extended throughout the body. All right. But there is a special membrane which is called as the undulating membrane, which connects the body to the flagellum. That means the flagellum is not free, as in case of Euglena. Euglena के केस में हमने पढ़ा था कि the flagellum is free, and that the free flagellum that is extended and helps in the locomotory function. All right. So in this case, the flagellum arises from the basal body. Through the flagellar pocket, it comes out, but it is connected to the body with the help of an undulating membrane. So always remember that. And what does this undulating membrane does? It helps to swim, okay, or it helps in the locomotion. All right.
What does undulating mean?
Undulating means it is not static; it is moving continuously. All right. And दिस एक्ट एज अ फिन. तो जैसे कि फिन होता है मछलियों में, फिशेज में, सेम इज द फंक्शन ऑफ दिस और द मूवमेंट ऑफ दिस फिन. ऑलराइट, एंड द मूवमेंट इज कंट्रोल्ड बाय द माइक्रोट्यूब्यूल्स. ओके, सो दीज माइक्रोट्यूब्यूल्स व्हिच आर सब पेलिकुलर. पेलिकल हमने पढ़ा था, व्हिच इज द आउटर लेयर ऑफ द प्रोटोजोन्स. ओके, सो इन सम केस दैट इज द प्लाज्मा लेमा, अमीबा के केस में, but in others it is the pellicle. So this membrane is the pellicle, and beneath the pellicle there is the microtubules. Okay, and these microtubules help in the movement of this flagellum. Right, and then it helps in the locomotory process. Then you can see there is a structure which is, I told you, is a kinetoplast. Okay, and that is present inside the mitochondrion. All right, and this kinetoplast contains the extranuclear DNA. That means DNA is mainly present in the nucleus, but the extranuclear DNA, जैसे हमारे केस में भी ह्यूमन बींग्स में the cell contains extra nuclear DNA in the mitochondria. Okay, so you can extract DNA from either nucleus, or you can also extract DNA from mitochondria. और mitochondrial DNA जो है वो conserved होता है. The same is the case with this protozoans as well, that they have the extra nuclear DNA in the kinetoplast. The function of this is still disputed. What is the actual function? But that has been attributed to mainly the function has been attributed to mainly the presence of a conserved portion of a DNA. Okay, so that means it helps in the maintaining the phylogenetic as a relationship. All right, or the phylogenetic association. So the outer surface again is made up of, if you look at the biochemical part, it is made up of the glycoproteins. All right, so they are the proteins which contains the carbohydrate moieties. So glyco, the carbohydrate part, and the proteins is proteinaceous. So they contains a layer, and that contains a special characteristic, which is that once they are present inside the bloodstream or inside the lymphatic vessels, they can be attacked by the immune cells. So what special characteristics do these trypanosomes show? That they have variable surface glycoprotein. So variable means they keep on changing their glycoprotein nature. All right. So the antigens, अगर आपने पढ़ा हो antigens और antibodies, so antigens basically are the biomolecules which are presented to the immune cells, and the immune cells, basically the B lymphocytes, they secrete what they secrete? They secrete the antibodies. तो प्लाज्मा सेल्स जो कि बी लिम्फोसाइट्स जब एक्सपोज हो जाते हैं एंटीजन के या कोई भी पैथोजन आपकी बॉडी में अगर आता है, तो द फर्स्ट antigenic or the humoral response, how it occurs is basically through the B lymphocytes. So T lymphocytes or B lymphocytes, basically two types of lymphocytes are there. So T lymphocytes helps in the T cell mediated immune response, and the humoral response, which is the B cell mediated immune response, that is through the exposed or the B cells which come in the contact with the antigen. All right. So antigens, they contain the epitope or specialized structures which are recognized by the B plasma cells. Sorry, the B lymphocytes. And B lymphocytes, when they mature, they transform into the plasma cells. And these plasma cells then secrete the antibodies. All right. And also the B lymphocytes can either transform into the plasma cells or into the memory cells. तो memory cells क्या करेंगे in future? If by chance somebody get exposed to trypanosome again, they can recognize. But these trypanosoma are so smart, they keep on changing their glycoprotein structure. So that means once suppose this has a structure like this here, it will not have the structure in the next few hours or next few days. All right, it will change it. So the antibody which was directed or which was made against this particular structure will not be able to recognize because it has now changed, so they can escape or evade the host immune response. समझ आ रहा है? So that means these are the master of disguise. So they have evolved in such a way that because they are present in the bloodstream, because they are present in the lymphatic regions, which are highly immune responsive regions, so they keep on changing their structure. तो जैसे कि disguise करते हैं हम in order to shield ourselves from the enemy, these also shield from the immune system by changing their glycoprotein structure. All right. Therefore, it is called as the variable glycoprotein layer or the VSG. So coming to the three forms, so I discussed that there are three major forms: the trypomastigotes, the epimastigotes, and the promastigote forms. The first one is the trypomastigote forms, and always remember that only three structures you have to remember, and you will be able to recall what are these three forms. First is the location of the kinetoblast, which KT से मैंने यहाँ किया है. Second is the undulating membrane, okay, and third is the flagellum. All right. So बस तीन चीजें अगर आप ध्यान रख लेंगे, you will be able to recognize or remember what is the form of the trypanosomes. So first one is the trypomastigote form, in which the kinetoplast is posteriorly located. So हमेशा मैंने आपसे जितनी भी क्लास हुई बताया है कि the part from which the flagellum arises is the anterior part. All right. So it is not the tail, rather it is arising from the anterior region. So this is anterior, this is posterior. So the location of the nucleus is central, and to the posterior part is the kinetoplast which is located. अब यहाँ सब वो माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया वगैरह सारे स्ट्रक्चर होंगे, वो हमने नहीं लिए हैं. So just to make it clear. Okay. So kinetoplast is the posteriorly located, or in case of the trypomastigote form. If you look at the flagellum, the pheroplast, which is or the basal body, जो कि यहाँ पे BB से मार्क किया है, it is present near the kinetoplast. All right, and because this is posteriorly located, whole of the body is having the flagellum. Okay, and it is connected with the undulating membrane. So the undulating membrane run all across the body. All right, and only at the anterior end the free flagellum is present. All right, so posteriorly located kinetoplast, basal body present near the kinetoplast, undulating membrane all across the body length, and the free flagellum at the anterior end, centrally located nucleus. बस इतना आपको याद रखना है. ये यहाँ पे सब लिखा हुआ है. Posteriorly located kinetoplast, flagellum emerges from the posterior end and four parasite body. This attachment of the flagellum of the body forms the undulating membrane that is spanned to the entire length of the parasite. Alright. The undulating membrane, अच्छा फंक्शन क्या है जिसमें मैंने बताया था, it acts as a fin. जैसे कि मछलियों में fin होता है, same is the case here, that it helps in the motility. Alright. And the free flagellum only comes out at the anterior end, and it has the centrally located nuclei. Then looking at the epimastigote form, अब देखिए बिल्कुल क्लियर है, nucleus centrally located. Okay, kinetoplast is present just across, or it is aside the nucleus. All right, so it is more centrally located, the kinetoplast. And again, the blepharoplast is, or the basal body, is present adjacent to the kinetoplast, and the undulating membrane comes across, only covers the half or less than half of the body. Right? So the flagellum is quite short, okay, and the undulating membrane is only present over the half of the surface of the body, not on the complete surface. All right, and then again from the anterior end, the free flagellum arises. And because it was covered with the whole undulating membrane, the whole body, it migrates more swiftly or more fast as compared to the epimastigote form. तो हाफ हो गया, इसमें लेंथ उतनी रही, बट जो undulating membrane की या fin की जो लेंथ हो गई, that has been reduced to half. Alright, so they are less motile in nature as compared to the trypomastigote forms. Then finally the promastigote forms. अब इसमें तो बिल्कुल ही आपका undulating membrane absent हो जाती है. You can clearly see that the kinetoplast has shifted towards the anterior side, and there is a basal body which is adjacent to the kinetoplast. Nucleus is centrally located. No undulating membrane is present, so the flagellum comes out, and it is the free flagellum form which is present. All right, so that is the final form, which is the promastigote form. If you look at the disease or the pathology caused by these organisms, first is the mechanical damage during the blood meal. So the first pathogenesis or the disease condition is the formation of a red sore, that is called as the chancre. Okay, so this chancre basically is the site of the injection of the trypomastigotes. Alright, so यहाँ पर जब inoculation होता है, जब blood meal लेगी आपकी tsetse fly, so this causes inflammation. Okay, so this is red zone is basically the inflammation sign. So inflammation क्या होता है, मैंने बताया था, inflammation is the coming of the immune cells at the site of infection or injury. So the immune cells will invade, okay, or they will try to come more close to the infection site, okay, or the site where it has been injected, and they will form this reddish zone. Okay, and this also causes quite heating, क्योंकि यहाँ पर vascularization बढ़ जाता है. अब immune cells कहाँ से आएंगे? Blood से आएंगे. So blood supply will increase, giving it a blood में color कौन सा होता है? Hemoglobin, red color. So that will give it a reddish tinge or reddish color, as well as it will be inflamed or swollen because of the presence of the lot of immune cells. So the bite itself is quite painful. Okay, and the after the bite, around 2 to 3 days, this chancre or the red sore is formed. All right, and it is not like that this parasite after biting of the humans, the brain get infected or the organs get infected. No, it has a short incubation period. That means the period in which you will not feel any other sign, simply you will get this sore. So that phase is called as the incubation period, which is about 14 days, 7 से 14 दिन का होता है, 1 to 2 weeks. And After that means after the incubation period, जबकि आपको कुछ भी feel नहीं होगा, you will feel normal only, you will have this bite. All right. Then you will feel that if trypanosome have started multiplying in the body temperature will increase. All right. You will have severe headache and you will be quite tired. All right. As well as the person become quite irritated. So all these are the common symptoms for the trypanosoma brucei infection. And sometimes they also feel that they have quite a bit uh, myoglia. That means the pain in the muscles. So aching muscles are also present in case of the trypanosoma brucei infection. But in some of the cases or in few patients, these two symptoms have also been reported, that is pain in joints. So pain in joints is not necessarily the first sign, but first the pain in muscle start and then pain in joints, which is occurring in very few patients, but it is again a symptom. Then if it is a prolonged illness, that means it continues for months or years, then the body will the person will lose weight, okay, as well as the body rash will become common. The body rash becomes common because the body is losing its immune system. It causes the invades the lymphatic system and it causes the damage to the lymphatic system. So lymphatic system में हमें पता है lymph nodes पे basically the T lymphocytes they mature. All right. So they are formed or they mature in the thymus. So because of the lymphatic system or the lymph nodes are damaged, the immune cells are lost. Okay, and the body is prone to infection. So fungal infection, bacterial infection हो जाएगा और body rash is also a very common symptom. Then if it invades the central nervous system and mainly the brain, what it causes lot of confusion. Okay, so the person loses its sense. All right, the speech become impaired, seizures occurs. All right, तो seizures आ जाएंगे body के अंदर. Okay, as well as one of the most important thing which it causes the demyelination of the myelin sheath. Okay, so myelin sheath is basically the protective layer which is present over the axons of the neurons. Alright, so जो आपके central nervous system में neurons present है, उसका अगर आपने structure देखा हो, so there is a myelin sheath present. Okay, and that acts as an insulating layer as well as helps in the fast propagation of the impulse. तो वो impulse वो myelin sheath को ये degrade कर देते हैं. Okay, and because of that it causes a lot of confusion. The signal is lost, the person feels confused, the person get abnormal routine, means they will try to sleep during the daytime and they will wake up or they will get active during the night time. So that's why it is called as the sleeping sickness. So during the morning or the daytime the person used to sleep. Okay, so the people think that the person is getting more and more sleep, so they used to call that it is a sleeping sickness, that only the sleeping pattern is changed. But later it was found that okay, it's not a sleeping problem or it is not a neurological problem, it is a problem caused by a protozoan parasite. Okay, and when you can imagine that when if it is left untreated or no treatment is given, then the illness could become worse and even the death could occur. All right, and because it invades the immune system, it will lead to the immunosuppression and thereby again facilitating the secondary infections. तो जैसा कि हमने पढ़ा था लास्ट टर्न पे एंटमीबा हिस्टोलाइटिका के केस में कि the death may occur because of the secondary infections. तो immunosuppression state में अगर चला जाए इंसान, so the secondary infections are quite common then and they can cause more harm to the person. All right, so this was about the last topic which is the trypanosoma brucei. Next class जो है आपकी Saturday में practical वाला, that Dr. Uzma will take, and before that I want to show the specimen for the last part for my unit 1, that is the Cnidarians. Okay, और इसमें अभी कोई आपको ज़्यादा परेशान होने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। आई विल गिव यू 10 डेज, आज 28 है, आप 8 या 9 तारीख तक आप जमा कर दीजिएगा। आई डोंट हैव प्रॉब्लम विद दैट। ओके, सो इसमें सिर्फ 7 या 8 स्पेसिमेन है टोटल, तो आई विल टेक ओनली 15 मोर मिनट्स। 11:40 हो गए, 12 बजे तक मैं इंशाल्लाह वाइट अप कर दूँगा।
Sir,
जी,
sir, why are pathogens host specific?
pathogens or parasites are basically host specific because they have evolved in such a way that they continue their they continue their life cycle in the definitive host using some of the biomolecules which are present inside the specific host. For example, अगर आपने फैशुला की लाइफ साइकिल पढ़ी हो, फैशुला हिपैटिका सुना है नाम?
Yes, sir, liver fluke.
Liver fluke, very good. So liver fluke is mainly infecting two major definitive hosts, that is the cattle as well as the humans. So hepatica के केस में क्या होता है, उसके जो cyst होते हैं, that is the infective stage. It is ingested by the definitive host, which is the humans or animals, cattle, and they become only active when they reach the duodenum, that is the small intestine, and in the presence of the bile juices or the bile salts. Or bile juices or the bile salts will be released by the gallbladder, will be released through the gallbladder into the small intestine. तो आप अगर आपने फिजियोलॉजी पढ़ी है तो आपको पता है कि वहाँ पर ड्यूडेनल ओपनिंग में ये रिलीज हो जाते हैं, ठीक है। और वहाँ से क्योंकि उन बाइल सॉल्ट्स का कॉम्पोजिशन, अब इतने सारे वर्टिब्रेट होस्ट हैं जिसके अंदर सब ये बाइल जूसेस होते हैं, बट स्पेसिफिकली दी बाइल जूसेस ऑफ दीज टू होस्ट, द कैटल्स और दूसरा आपका ह्यूमंस, they have specific enzymes that activate those cysts. All right. If others will take or other stages you ingest apart from the cyst, you will not get infection. All right. और same is the case with these protozoans as well. अब जो मैंने अभी आपको पढ़ाया trypanosomes का, in my experience, I have got trypanosome infection from fishes. Okay, I have seen from humans, I have seen it from cattle, I have seen it from horses. Okay, so there is specificity, but it is not a very rigid type of specificity. Rather, it is called as the loose host specificity. तो कहीं कहीं आपको वर्ड मिल जाएगा लूज होस्ट स्पेसिफिसिटी, एंड इन दैट केसेस these zoonotic infections are very common. Zoonotic means बने थे वो एनिमल्स की डिजीज के लिए, but because human got infected, human got in contact with those animals, they transmitted to humans as well. तो zoonotic infections भी आपको बहुत कॉमन मिल जाएंगे. तो स्पेसिफिक आपका क्वेश्चन था कि स्पेसिफिक ही क्यों होते हैं. They are specific because they have their body designed in such a way that it get activated or their system get activated when they are present inside the particular organism, either because of the presence of certain environmental condition or the microhabitat. For example, the presence of the bile salts and the bile juices inside the duodenum, that only makes them active. Otherwise they will simply come out of the alimentary canal, जाएंगे cyst और वो वापस निकल जाए. फिश को अगर आप मेटासेकेरिया खिला दीजिए फैशुला का, it will not get infected. All right, but in other cases there are certain sites which are specific to the organism. For example, liver fluke का infection liver में ही क्यों होता है, liver fluke का infection lungs में क्यों नहीं होता, या spinal cord में क्यों नहीं होता, या testes में क्यों नहीं होता, because they have chemoreceptors present. In burrowing and then reach the bile duct. So bile ducts are the ultimate destination or the microhabitat of the adult liver flukes. वहां पर जाके वो फिर मैच्योर होंगे, they start producing eggs. Eggs will pass to the gallbladder into the alimentary. आया समझ में?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the phylum which we have to discuss today is the specimen from the phylum Nidaria. Okay, Coelenterata भी लोग इसको कहते हैं. So we have to discuss about few six or seven specimens in this case. And the first one is the sea anemone or Metridium. So you can look here that this structure, which is a very stumpy form, and that has some elongated structures or the fibrous structures which are coming out. These are nothing but the tentacles. All right. So this is the specimen which has been preserved in the body, which is cylindrical in shape. Okay, more or less cylindrical in shape. अब ये क्योंकि press हो गया है, compressed, so it is looking like this. But if you look at the fresh specimen, a pedicle, pedal disc. Okay, so this pedal disc helps in the attachment of this sea anemone to the substratum. Okay, ये जो है आपका रॉक से जाके अटैच हो जाएंगे और they will attach to the bottom of the floor in the oceans. And you can see here that this is the cylindrical portion, and this is basically divided into two parts. The upper part is called as the capitulum, okay, and the lower or the middle part is called as the scapus. So these scapus and the capitulum are the part of the cylindrical body part, and we will discuss about each of this in the theory class. So अब आपको सिर्फ recognize करना है, पहचानेंगे कैसे. So simply look at this stumpy form, cylindrical part. It contains numerous tentacles. Okay, so that's the prey. All right. और इसीलिए इनका नाम इसे फाइलम निडेरिया में रखा गया है, because they have the nidocyst, okay, और the nematoblast cell. तो ये यहाँ पर इसके tentacles present हैं, and on if you look at the anterior side, you will ठीक है. तो जैसे बोट की सेल होती है, it is looking similar to that, and that has air glands present in it, and through which the air is no different composition, and because of this structure it helps this Nidaria to float. Okay, so this is basically a floating stage. Okay, it is not a sedentary or it is not attached to the substratum. So the important characteristic of crest or the sail, and then there are the pneumatophores which are present. Okay, and if you look at the downside, you will find that there are different types of these fibrous structures which are there. Okay, so some of them are quite long, some of them are quite short. So you have to remember that there are three major types of zooids. Okay, so the word zooid basically means solitary. That means they are not single. So these zooids are basically the specialized organisms which perform different functions, okay, in a colony. So there are the gonozoids. Some helps in the nutritive pathway. That means they help in the accumulation of the food and getting nutrition. They are called as the gastrozoids. Then there are some of the dactylozoids. So these dactylozoids, which are basically two forms, either they can be small or they can be larger one as well. So these two dactylozoids, they help in the capture of prey. All right, and these dactylozoids, they contain the stinging cells, and as well as there are specialized nematocysts, and nematocysts, they inject the neurotoxin inside the prey and helps in the capture of the prey. All right. So this is about the Phycelia. ये भी सबने देखा होगा. This is the jellyfish, that is Aurelia. So if you look at the picture taken from the ocean, and you can see that this is an umbrella like structure, okay, which is having some ribbons coming out at the end. So this is basically the umbrella like structure, that is the anterior end. So you can look at this picture in the middle. The anterior part looks like this, or the umbrella part, okay. And this is the compressed or this preserved specimen in which the umbrella has been folded, you can say, and the tentacles are entangled here. So this is how it will look in the museum if you look at the specimen. So these tentacles are there and a membrane is present. So if you look at the anterior end, the diagram to the right is of the anterior end. You can zoom the image and you will find these marginal tentacles. Right? But the specialized tentacles are then located at the posterior side. Right? So these are the long tentacles which are quite easily recognizable. Then there are a lot of filaments which are present, and they are called as the gastric filaments. So gastric filaments are present here. All right. So it is not visible at this magnification. If you increase the magnification, you will be able to see the gastric filaments, which helps in the digestion of the food. All right. Then there are some these fine line structures, or these basically they are the canal system. Okay. So these tubular system, which is radially arranged, is called as the gastrovascular canal. All right. So this canal system helps in the transport of the food material, okay, as well as fluid across the body. So these are the major characteristics of the Aurelia. You can easily identify them. All right. Then you look at the another Cnidaria, which is the Pennatula. इसका common name पता है किसी को?
C-pen.
C-pen.
C-pen, very good. So C-pen is named because it looks like a pen. तो अगर आप कहेंगे पेन तो नहीं लग रहा सर ये, तो पुराने जमाने में जब लोग फेदर से लिखते थे, so they gave the name C-pen because it looks like to be a pen which is embedded at the floor of the ocean. So it is not a, it is not a moving state organism. Rather, it's a sedentary organism. It remains attached or burrowed in the bottom of the ocean or the sea. All right. So if you look at this structure here, there this part is called as the stalk, which is burrowed or which is present. You can look at this part, which is the leaf-like structure. All right. So this leaf-like structure is then divided into different parts. So you can look at this is the same as the rachis. Okay. So जैसे कि लीफ का स्ट्रक्चर आप पढ़ेंगे उसमें रैकेस होते हैं, और फिर उसके बाद उसके आपके यहाँ पर वेनेशन हो जाता है, और आपके लीफ का पिन्ना होता है. तो सेम इज द केस हियर, that the middle part is the rachis which is present, and they have two major types of zooids. Okay, so again it is a colonial form, so it is not a solitary organism, it's a colonial form. And there are two types of zooids. One is called as the cyphozoids, and another is called as the acanthozoids or azoids. Okay, so these two types of zooids, they are basically different in their function. All right. So the cyphenozoids basically helps in the digestive processes. Okay, or the one ज़्यादा स्ट्रक्चर बहुत ज़्यादा लेबल्ड हुए हैं, आपको इतना ज़्यादा डिटेल में जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. You simply have to write that there are two major forms. One is the polyp form and another one is the medusa form. This medusa form. All right. So medusa buds are present and this is the polyp form. So there are two major forms. Polyp form में basically, if you look at the polyp form, there are three major structures. One is the mouth. Then there is the hypostome, which is present below the mouth. So hypo or stoma basically is the oral opening, and hypo means below the mouth. And then there is the protective covering, which is covering the whole polyp, that is called as the hydrotheca. तो बस ये तीन चीजें आपको लेवल करनी है. Then you can label the medusa. Okay, so medusa को अगर आप स्ट्रक्चर देखें, then you will see the blastostyle, which is present, the gonotheca and the medusa buds. Okay, and from where all these structure arises, that is called as the hydrorhiza. So hydrorhiza is the horizontal structure from which all these branching occurs, and that branching is called as the hydrocalus. Sorry, that is because of the covering, which is called as the hydrocalus, and that is deposited at the start of the. आपको अब इतने सारे पॉलिप भी बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है, दो पॉलिप बना लीजिए और दो मेडुसा बना लीजिए, एंड सिंपली L. cyanonium. Okay, L. cyanonium basically is a dead. You look at this structure, it looks like a hand. Okay, with these are the fingers like projections which are there, and again it contains a stalk which is there at the bottom, which helps in the attachment to the substratum. And these finger like structures, they have two major forms. Either they have the retractive polyps or they have the extended or expanded polyps. So the polyps which are present are either extended outwards, जो आपको ऊपर नजर आएंगे coming out, they are the extended polyps, and they are retracted or they are present sunken, right? And they are called as the retracted polyps. Then there is a presence of conenkyme. So these conenkyme basically helps in various functions, helping the various functions. For example, they helps in the compact colony structure. Okay, so they are again colonial in nature. So they form the colony and they get attached to the stalk region. All right. The last one is the hydra. So in hydra, you can see there are two different specimen I have taken in the middle. Female hydra, there will be only single ovary, no testes will be there. Structures are very common. They have the basal disc, cylindrical bodies present. Okay, and they have these fine thread-like structures which are the tentacles. Okay, so tentacles are present which contains the nematoblast, which have the neurotoxin. So they help in the ingestion of the toxin into the prey. Then you look at the oral part here, the anterior part, you will find an oral opening which is called as the mouth, and below that there is the manubrium. Okay, so manubrium basically is the canal structure, or which is similar to that of the alimentary canal in the humans. और alimentary canal में जो esophagus का role होता है to connect the mouth to the alimentary system is basically performed by the manubrium. All right. Then I have taken this picture and I want to show you the video for this one. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the Ephyra larva, and that has come out from the jellyfish. Okay, so this is the larva for Aurelia, right? and this larva you can see has this swimming movement or the constriction and relaxation movement that helps in the swimming. अभी आप देखेंगे, this is the microscopic image. You cannot see this with your naked eye. All right, it is very small. So see, it is moving over the slide, and you can see with this contraction and relaxation movement, it migrates. See how it is moving very swiftly. इसमें भी आप अगर आप इसमें स्ट्रक्चर देखेंगे, you will find an middle part that is the opening of the mouth, okay, and these are nothing but the rudimentary gonads, okay, which are present because this is the larval form. And then there are 8 arms, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 arms which are present, which are the distinct character of the Aurelia larva. All right, so I was talking about the raised structure. So hopefully you can see here. I would like to pause at this moment. This is the raised structure. It is not like it is a flattened structure or a 2D structure. It's basically a 3D structure in which the mouth is raised. All right, it is not present along with these gonadal region, but it is the raised structure. ठीक है, आप मैं इसका लिंक शेयर कर दूंगा. यू कैन सी दिस वीडियो एंड देन यू कैन be able to understand better how the oral part is present. See, the oral part is raised, okay. It is not more clear. All right, so this was about the Ephyra larva, and if you look at these structures again, the centrally located mouth is present. All right, then there are some gastric filaments and rudimentary gonads are present. All right, then there are arm extended, so you can see there are these arms, 8 in numbers, and they have the radial canals which are present here. Okay, again there is the tube which connects the oral part to the alimentary canal, which is the manubrium. All right, so this was all about the Cnidaria specimens. So these 7 or 8 specimens you have to draw, okay, and write the comment. PS Verma
सर एक बार ओवेलिया बता दीजिए.
कौन सा ओबिलिया वाला?
सर क्या बनाना और मतलब क्या?
अच्छा, ओबिलिया में सिर्फ क्या बनाना है? देखिए, एक तो इतना सारा लेबल नहीं करना आपको. आपने अगर पढ़ा हो तो देयर आर 2 मेजर फॉर्म्स इन द Cnidarians. आइदर they have the polyp form or the medusa form. ठीक है ना?
Yes, sir.
तो ओबिलिया में दोनों
Yes,
फॉर्म एक ही ऑर्गेनिज्म, एक ही आपको स्पेसिमेन में मिल जाएंगे. कॉमन होगी या तो आपके पास मेड्यूसा फॉर्म हो गया. देखिए इस फॉर्म में एल्सायोनियम में सिर्फ पॉलिप फॉर्म है, मेड्यूसा फॉर्म नहीं है. ठीक है, ऐसे ही आप यहाँ देखेंगे, इसमें भी आपके पॉलिप्स नजर आएंगे आपको और मेड्यूसा नहीं नजर आएगा. ठीक है, तो इस केस में ओबिलिया में दोनों फॉर्म प्रेजेंट होती है क्योंकि ये कॉलोनी है बेसिकली. तो सम ऑफ देम आर इन दी पॉलिप फॉर्म, सम ऑफ देम आर इन दी मेड्यूसा फॉर्म. तो आप सिर्फ ये स्ट्रक्चर बनाइएगा हाइड्रोराइजा फर्स्ट, तो हॉरिजॉन्टल पार्ट, फिर वहां से ब्रांचिंग दिखाइएगा. एक ब्रांच में आप पॉलिप लगा दीजिएगा. ठीक है, तो पॉलिप इज दिस स्ट्रक्चर, फर्स्ट स्ट्रक्चर. ठीक है, और दूसरे में आप बना दीजिएगा बर्ड लाइक स्ट्रक्चर एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड एज द मेड्यूसा. तो ये मेड्यूसा जो है आपका सर्कुलर स्ट्रक्चर, दैट इज द मेड्यूसा. और मेड्यूसा का क्योंकि यहाँ पे इन्होंने एनलार्ज व्यू दिखाया है, तो इसमें आपको क्या दिखा सकते हैं आप, मेड्यूसा की जो बर्ड्स हैं, गोनोथिका उसकी कवरिंग होगी, मेड्यूसा फाइल प्रेजेंट है. और इन केस ऑफ द पॉलिप्स सिंपली यू हैव टू लेबल माउथ, हाइपोस्टोम एंड हाइड्रोथिका. ओके, सो हाइड्रोथिका कवरिंग एंड माउथ जो ओरल ओपनिंग है. बस ये स्ट्रक्चर बनाना है, दूसरा ये स्ट्रक्चर बनाना है, और तीसरा ये, बस और कुछ नहीं बनाना. बाकी सब आपको लेबल छोड़ दीजिएगा इसमें.
ओके
ओके, तो ये आप आराम से. और आज 28 है. यू सबमिट बाई 8th और 9th ऑफ द नेक्स्ट मंथ।
सर इसकी मेथोडोलॉजी भी लिखनी है?
मेथोडोलॉजी कुछ नहीं लिखनी, सिंपली ये लिखेंगे आप, ये वाली लाइन फर्स्ट, ऑब्जेक्टिव टू ऑब्जर्व एंड आइडेंटिफाई द गिवन स्पेसिमेन, ठीक है। ये आपका प्रिजर्व स्पेसिमेन है, कोई मेथोडोलॉजी नहीं लिखी जाएगी। ये भी, इसमें भी कोई मेथोडोलॉजी नहीं लिखी जाएगी। इसमें आप लिख सकते हैं क्योंकि इसमें आपको इंटरनल स्ट्रक्चर दिखने हैं, तो यू हैव टू राइट कि वी ऑब्जर्व दिस अंडर द माइक्रोस्कोप। ऑलराइट, सो ऑरिलिया के केस में और इसके लार्वा के केस में, ठीक है। पेनिटुला ये भी लार्जर स्ट्रक्चर होता है। ओबिलिया के केस में ये वाला जो है माइक्रोस्कोपिक है, बट ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको नेकेड आई से नजर नहीं आएगा। सो अगेन यू डोंट हैव टू राइट ऑल दिस थिंग। ऑलराइट, मेथोडोलॉजी नहीं लिखनी। ये भी बहुत लार्ज होता है, आराम से आपको नेकेड आई से नजर आ जाएगा, कोई जरूरत नहीं है, स्पेसिमेन प्रिजर्व्ड है। हाइड्रा के केस में अलबत्ता, क्योंकि ये बहुत छोटा होता है, 1 to 2 सेंटीमीटर, तो इतनी डिटेल स्ट्रक्चर नहीं दिखती। अब जैसे इसमें आप देखेंगे लेफ्ट हैंड साइड में आपको टेस्टिस और ओवरी इतना प्रोमिनेंट नहीं लिखना है, या उसकी हमें डिटेल स्ट्रक्चर लिखना है और कहाँ से लिए गए हैं, मैंने नहीं, कुछ नहीं लिखना, सिर्फ शेप को आपको एक कमेंट लिखनी है, सिर्फ शेप, कौन सी शेप है, मोनो एक्सॉन है, पॉली एक्सॉन है, ट्राई एक्सॉन है, बस ये लिखना है। क्लासिफिकेशन लिख दीजिए उसके अंदर,
यस सर।
कोई बात नहीं, जिसने लिख दिया कोई बात नहीं है, कोई ऐसे कोई घबराने की बात नहीं है कि उससे गलत हो गया कुछ आपका।
उनकी क्लास अलग अलग है, क्लास ऑर्डर।
इसीलिए क्योंकि